Hi, in this video I'm going to explicate an interesting and heart-touching poem, Hunger, written by a very prestigious poet, Jayanta Mahapatra. Before switching on to the poem, let's expertise something about the poet. Jayanta Mahapatra was born on 22nd October 1928 in Cuttack, belongs to a lower middle class family. His early education was already conducted in English. After his master's degree in physics in 1949, he worked as a teacher and served in different government colleges of Orissa. He is an Indian English poet. He is the first Indian poet to win a Sahitya Academy Award for English poetry. He is the author of poems such as Indian Summer and Hunger, which are regarded as classics in modern Indian English literature. Hunger poem by Jayanta Mahapatra is about the idea of hunger that at the beginning of the poem is that of a sex and a sexual desire, but in the end it transforms into the hunger of stomach that leads the people to do anything. The poem consists of 4 stanzas having 5 lines each. There is no set rhyme scheme. The poet uses a number of literary devices to describe the event that led from one hunger that is sexual to the other that is physical. The first stanza: it was hard to believe that the flesh was heavy on my back. The fisherman said, "Will you have her?" carelessly, trailing his nets and his nerves as though his words sanctified the purpose with which he faced himself. I saw his white bone thrash his eyes. Here the poem begins with the word, "It was hard to believe the flesh was heavy on my back." जब हम लोग उसको पहली बार पढ़ेंगे तो हमें ऐसे लगेगा that the poet has the heavy load or luggage on his back. जबकि ये जो phrase है hard to believe, it refers to something that is deep and profound. यहाँ पे poet ये कहना चाहते हैं that he could not believe that he had strong sexual desire at that time and was striving for sex, which he could not believe. In the next line, we come to know that he is on a boat with a fisherman who says to him, "Will you have her?" यहाँ पे ये रिफर हो रहा है कि जो डॉटर है फिशरमैन की, whom he offers to the poet to have sex with her. फिशरमैन अपनी बेटी को पोएट को देता है जो कि प्रोटोगनिस्ट है. इट इज़ क्वाइट स्ट्रेंज एंड इम्पॉसिबल, क्योंकि कोई भी फादर अपनी बेटी को ऑफर नहीं करता टू स्ट्रेंजर्स फॉर क्वेंचिंग देयर सेक्सुअल थर्स्ट. वाइल आस्किंग, जब ये क्वेश्चन वो पूछ रहे थे, मतलब फिशरमैन जब पोएट से पूछ रहा था, he seems to be carelessly trailing his net, but he was in no way careless. मतलब लग रहा था कि वो केयरलेसली पूछ रहा है पोएट से, प्रोटोगनिस्ट से, कि वो क्या अपनी मतलब वो उसकी बेटी को लेना चाहेगा फॉर क्वेंचिंग देयर सेक्सुअल थर्स्ट, बट ही वॉज इन नो वे केयरलेस. वो बिल्कुल केयरलेस नहीं था. हिज नर्व्स वर स्ट्रेच एंड वाइट बोन्स thrashing his eyes. मतलब इसका मतलब है कि that he was quite curious for the poet to say yes. क्योंकि चाहता था, वो fisherman चाहता था कि मतलब वो poet हाँ बोले इस बात, उसकी इस ऑफर को एक्सेप्ट करे. Poet to say yes, and he and his daughter have nothing to eat and are striving for food. Thus he offers his daughter to the poet. क्योंकि वो लोग भूखे थे, फिशरमैन उसकी बेटी भूखी थी, तो फिशरमैन ने अपनी बेटी ऑफर करी पोएट को. Thus he offers his daughter to the poet so that the latter may quench his sexual hunger while the former too may quench their physical hunger. Note that यहाँ पे ये हमें ध्यान रखना है कि यहाँ पे डॉटर का कंसेंट नहीं पूछा गया कि क्या, मतलब it is not clear whether she wants to have or not. Okay, the next stanza is, I followed him across the sprawling sands, my mind thumping in the flesh's sling. Hope lay, perhaps, in burning the house I lived in. Silence gripped my sleeves, his body clawed at the froth his old nets had only dragged up from the seas. The poet then followed him across the sprawling मतलब spread sands में उसने follow किया fisherman को. His mind was thumping in the flesh a sling. इसका मतलब है that the poet's mind was throbbing and his skin was trying to support it like a sling or the bandage used for supporting a broken arm. The poet thought that his sin will be forgiven by burning the house that he lived in. The line shows that the poet was feeling the poet was feeling quite guilty because of what he was going to do out of sexual desire. And the silence of the poet was grabbing him at, and it seemed that the silence has gripped his sleeves. It was perhaps his nerves that were stretching. The fisherman looked at his old nets, which had caught nothing but the foam from the sea. The last phrase can be attributed to the poet as well. If we go deeper into its meanings, the poet imagines as if he had gathered nothing but sin of his sexual desire. In the flickering dark, his heart opened like a wound. The wind was, I and the days and night before. Palm fronds scratched my skin. Inside the shack, an oil lamp slayed of the hours bunched to those walls. Over and over, the sticky suit crossed the space of my mind. Now, they reached the fisherman's hut. मतलब वो लोग फिशरमैन की हट में पहुंच गए, which was quite dark. मतलब वो बहुत ही वहाँ अंधेरा अंधेरा था, and open like a wound. This phrase depicts the worst condition of their hut because of the poverty. मतलब वो लोग इतने गरीब थे कि open like a wound ये phrase जो है ये दर्शाता है कि जो फिशरमैन है वो कितना पुअर है. उसकी मतलब उसकी हट की कंडीशन बताती है कि लाइक बहुत पुअर है एंड बिकॉज ऑफ द पावर्टी. द विंड जहाँ जो विंड है हियर सिम्बलाइजेस स्टॉर्म विच वॉज गोइंग इन द माइंड ऑफ अ पोएट. जो स्टॉर्म उस पोएट के दिमाग में चल रहा है. डेज एंड नाइट मीन्स दैट इट वॉज हैपनिंग ऑल द टाइम विदाउट स्टॉपिंग. While entering the hut, जब वो hut के अंदर जा रहा था, the leaves of the palm tree were scratching his skin. In the metaphorical scene, they were stopping the poet from committing the sin. मतलब जहाँ पे वो जो palm tree है, ये एक metaphorical scene है जहाँ पे जो palm tree है, वो एक तरह से poet को रोक रहे हैं कि तुम इतना बड़ा पाप मत करो. फिर वो अंदर गया hut के poet. Inside the roughly built hut, the oil lamp had confined and fastened the hours to the wall. It probably means that the time has been stopped in the hut. There is no day, but only the night. The night is not only in physical terms, but also in a metaphorical sense, because there is the darkness of sorrows over the fisherman and his daughter. The smoke coming from the lamp was filling his mind, and he was feeling either dreamy or helpless. Okay, the last stanza is, I heard him say, my daughter, she's just turned 15. Feel her. I'll be back soon. Your bus leaves at 9. The sky fell on me, and the father's exhausted while, long and lean, her ears were cold as rubber. She opened her wormy legs wide. I felt the hunger there. The other one, the fish slithering, turning inside. Father's exhausted while, long and lean, her ears were cold as rubber. She opened her wormy legs wide. I felt the hunger there. The other one, the fish slithering, turning inside. In this last stanza, the poet hears the fisherman says, my daughter, she's just turned 15. Feel her. I'll be back soon. Your bus leaves at 9. 15 is the age when a girl is her charm. Feel her means quench your sexual hunger by having sex with her. I will be back means that the poet is now free to do what with his daughter whatever he desires. The poverty and extreme hunger make the fisherman pimp his own daughter in exchange of some money or food. The way a fisherman pursues the poet to have sex with his own daughter makes the poet feel as if the sky has fallen on him. The poet finds the girl who is young but malnutrition due to poverty. Seeing the poet, she opens her warm like legs as she is very weak and young. The poet to make her his sex slave. At this stage, the poet knows for the first time about the other hunger that is opposite of sexual hunger and which comes from an empty stomach. Fish slithering through or turning inside depicts the churning movement that happens inside the stomach when we feel hungry. The poet discusses hunger in his other poem, Freedom, as well. Here I finished this poem. Thank you for watching.